This is a membrane loading video guide. It will guide through the steps of membrane loading and is relevant for most membrane types and pressure vessels. Before loading the membrane elements into the pressure vessels, make sure you have all necessary items: safety equipment, safety shoes, rubber gloves, lubricant such as Dow Corning Molykote 111 or glycerin, clean rags, ratchet wrench, membrane elements as required, membrane interconnectors, permeate blind adapters, permeate through adapters, 2 end cap assemblies on both ends of each pressure vessel, thrust cones, membrane spacer assembly, and end cap extractor. In order to open the pressure vessels, you will first need to remove the permeate pipe manifold. Open Victaulic couplings connecting permeate port to the PVC manifold. Release PVC union connections and disassemble the permeate manifold to allow free access to the pressure vessels. Remove the retaining ring from both pressure vessel ends, and the support ring if there is one. Use the extractor to pull out the end caps on both sides of the pressure vessel. Flush vessel with water hose and clean remaining debris with a clean rag. Apply a thin layer of lubricant to the inner walls of the pressure vessel at the brine side and the head seal. Make sure the head seal is clean. If the thrust cone and sealing plate are separated, first install the thrust cone on the end cap of the brine side. Verify that the wide side is facing the lead membrane element and the narrow side is facing the sealing plate. If thrust cone and sealing plate are made of a single piece, skip this part. Install the permeate through adapter on the inner side of the permeate port. Install the end cap on the concentrate side. Apply the pusher if necessary. Put back support rings, if they exist on your pressure vessel model, and secure with the retaining ring. Elements are loaded from the feed side. Element direction is such that the V-ring brine seal is on the tail of the element. Usually there is an arrow embedded on the element, indicating the correct loading direction. Place the leading end of the first element into the feed water end of the pressure vessel, and slide it in approximately 3/4 of the element length. Apply a thin layer of lubricant to the V-ring brine seal and to both O-ring seals on the interconnector. Install the interconnector into the permeate tube of the element. Push it halfway through until it stops. Lift the next element into position and install the trailing end on the interconnector. Make sure you hold the next element aligned to the previous element so that the weight is not supported by the interconnector and there's no stress on it. Push the element into the pressure vessel until about 1/4 of the element extends outside the vessel. Keep on performing the same process for the other membranes. Remember to lubricate the interconnector's O-ring seals and the V-ring brine seal after each element loading. Apply a thin layer of lubricant to the blind adapter O-ring and install into the permeate tube of the tail element. The last element is secured by a feed spacer. This spacer holds the blind adapter in place, which is installed on the tail element permeate tube. Install the spacer pipe on the blind adapter and push the element into the pressure vessel almost to the end to apply a thin layer of lubricant to the inner walls of the pressure vessel at the feed side. Install the feed side end cap on the pipe spacer using supplied coupler. On Protec pressure vessels, the feed side end cap is blind, so no additional adapter is required. On Bell pressure vessels, this end cap has to be blocked with an additional permeate blind adapter. Push the spacer all the way through into the pressure vessel until the feed end cap is in place. Apply the pusher if necessary. Put back support rings, if they exist on your pressure vessel model, and secure the end cap with a retaining ring. So, to recap, The basic steps of membrane elements loading are opening both pressure vessels for cleaning and removing existing membranes, closing the brine side end cap, loading the elements one by one from the feed side of the pressure vessel using the interconnector between them, installing the feed spacer, and closing the feed side end cap.